I'm Hank Stoltz. Behind the scenes with the Hanover Theater, I'm Hank Stoltz. Lisa Condent is here, of course, to tell us everything that is going on behind the scenes. Terrific interview that Lisa has done as well. That is coming up. And Lisa, where are we right now? I mean, we had a lot of good information last week about everything that is being done at the theater, from the deep clean to just the way in which you guys are handling this, and some classes coming online for young people that are going to be done remotely. So a lot of good things still happening at the Hanover. Where are we today?
Yes, thank you, Hank. And can I just say how much I love Troy and Megan? They are such proactive problem solvers. It's awesome. So I'm glad you all got to hear from them last week. As we all know, things change a lot in a week, right? All of the theater, except for our small facilities team, is now working from our home office, and everything is being handled remotely. All of our meetings, our classes, and we're taking it one day at a time, just like a lot of other people are. And, you know, leadership is really coming together as far as strategically, what can we do looking for that time beyond? And we're all looking forward to that time beyond. And, you know, we're sensitive to a lot of people who have been impacted by this. And when are people going to want to come together again? And how can we stay connected, because we want to stay connected and people want to stay connected to us in the meantime, right?
Yeah, and the theater community is such a wonderful way to stay connected, and so many performers stepping up and giving impromptu performances or scheduled performances. Great case in point. Tonight would have been such a joyous night. Ricky Duran on the stage at the Hanover Theater. And, you know, here you have somebody who should have won The Voice, but coming home to his hometown crowd. But you know what? He's going to take to social media, and we are going to hear some Ricky Duran music live tonight, and then you have already rescheduled for him to come to the Hanover.
Right, and you know what? I always say crisis and opportunity. I'm not the original person who said that. Two sides of the same exact coin. You know, as a matter of fact, Ricky is going to be able to connect with even more people, and when we do come together for his rescheduled date, and that's going to be in June 19th, then, well, it'll be that much better for us. That really is our hope. And, you know, part of the challenge we have as an organization is this is a time when we would normally be announcing next season's Broadway series, right? And there are so many things that remain moving targets, as I'm sure you can imagine, in everybody's business, but especially when it comes to tour dates. You know, next year is intact for what we can announce when, and those things haven't changed. The other thing that hasn't changed are the number of days and weeks on the calendar, you know, and planning for that next year and the next season. So, you know, we're going to hear from Dr. Ivan Green. He is one of our board members. He has been a subscriber since the beginning. I remember when he and his wife, Noreen, who's also a doctor, first started coming to the Hanover Theater, and then little by little they became more and more involved. And he's very humble in acknowledging that he and his wife have the ability to be able to donate back to the theater. But there are other ways that people can help, and just help each other and help ourselves feel best, because at the end of the day, we all need to take care of ourselves, right, so we can take care of others.
Yeah, exactly right. Can you give us even a little more behind the scenes? Because this has to be so difficult right now. And just in the Broadway series, as you said, normally at this time would be announcing it. There must be Broadway tours that are a little bit up in the air right now. They're maybe not sure what they're going to be doing.
Well, so the interesting thing is for next season, we're good unless Boston decides that one of their rescheduled shows is going to come back to Boston and they block us. Other than that, we're good for next season, but we still have to abide by the time frame that is set up, which is challenging in and of itself. What's more up in the air, and what people might not think about, is the impact on having to take, you know, an extended leave off for a tour, and for everybody who works on that tour, it's hard for tours to come back together.
Yeah.
And the thing that's challenging for us is, Miss Saigon announced recently that they were canceling the rest of their tour because they recognized they weren't going to be able to hold it together while they were laying people off, basically.
Yeah, no,
No.
exactly. I mean that is a loss, but I mean you can certainly understand that. That is difficult. Some things are easier rescheduled than others.
Right. And we're still trying to reschedule the dates for Bandstand and American in Paris, and we have dates that are on hold for that. But, there are still some variables, and I don't know that people are really ready to get together with 2,000 of their closest friends again.
Yeah. All right. Boy, interesting. You know what? We're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to come back and talk a little bit more with Lisa Condit, and also hopefully hear from some good folks with the Hanover Theater as well. All of that is on the way right now. You're going behind the scenes with the Hanover Theater. Behind the scenes of the Hanover Theater, Lisa Condit is on with us. We're talking about all the things that are going on at the Hanover Theater and getting ready, and the preparations continue. And, there are some people who are at home and are going a little bit stir-crazy. Lisa, it sounds as if everybody behind the scenes at the Hanover Theater is working hard and has plenty to do right now.
We certainly do have plenty to do because, you know what? We don't know when we're going to be able to come together again, but we are looking forward to that. And, please check out our website at thehanovertheater.org. Also, following us on Facebook is a really great way to stay engaged. And I know that Harmony is working on a lot of different Instagram content. So there are ways to connect the Hanover Theater with, and re.org is a great way to stay up to date.
Yeah, boy, absolutely. So much happening. Have you been hearing, just as you've been talking, because this is just something that we've been talking about, of course, I think everybody is talking about it, Lisa, just what are some of the things that people are doing to sort of stave off cabin fever? Work is certainly one of them, if people are lucky enough to be able to work from home. What are some other things that you and the Hanover family are doing in these days?
Well, first of all, our conservatory has gone virtual. All of our meetings have pretty much gone virtual as well. And we are, of course, sharing tips and resources for other interesting music. There are some kind of fun things about playlists, for being alone.
Yeah.
Which is, sometimes we have to find the humor in what's going on as well. And, I think when it all comes down to it, it's about our relationships with each other. So what are we doing to stave off the crazies? We're really focusing on our relationships with each other. We're really focusing on respecting our relationships with our families. The reason that, we were working from home as early as we were is because we really want to make sure that we're valuing the relationship we have with our volunteers,
Yes.
most of whom are in the at-risk age category. And let's face facts. A lot of times the people who have the time and the extra money to go to the theater regularly are older. That's what sometimes people are able to do more. We start when we're younger, but we become more active sometimes when we're older. So we're really taking care of ourselves, respecting our health. We're remaining positive, planning for the future. And I keep being urged to go outside, which the irony of all of this is I live in one of the best places in the whole wide world. Lots of fresh air. I'm a total outdoorsy person. I have been indoor more in the last week than I have in the last 10 years.
Oh, that is a cruel irony. That's not
It's
right.
horrible. I get to look out. I see the beautiful landscape out my window, but I seem to be busier inside than ever before. So
well, we
I'm
do
going to take my own advice and make sure I take my dogs outside and play with them today.
Yes, please do. But know that we do appreciate everybody at the Hanover Theater, all the hard work that you're doing so that when this this passes and when this lifts and we can get back out to the theater, that's going to be one of the first things that we want to do because we miss it so much, and it's just going to be something that we all need to lift our spirits. All right, we do have an interview this morning. Set this up for us.
Absolutely, and you set me up perfectly because one of the best ways we can take care of ourselves and each other is with that attitude of gratitude that, Maya Angelou, when she came to the Hanover Theater years ago, talked about. And we are so grateful for the people who are coming back to us and asking, okay, so what are the ways that I can step up to make sure that you are successful and you're set up to continue to thrive as much as humanly possible? So we're going to be talking to Dr. Ivan Green. He has been a supporter of the Hanover Theater from the very beginning and little by little has, of course, become more engaged and has been on our board of directors for more than 8 years. So here we go.
All right. Yeah, and I think this is going to take us right to the bottom. So, Lisa, we'll talk again next week.
You have a great week ahead, and I can't wait to see you all back at the theater sometime very soon. Thank you all for listening. I'm excited to be here with Dr. Ivan Green. He is a loyal board member and has been a dear friend and supporter of the Hanover Theater and Conservatory for a long time now. Welcome, Dr. Green.
Thank you, Lisa. It's nice to be here with you.
Absolutely. So I thought, especially at this time, it would be really great to hear from one of our board of directors, and especially from you, because you have seen the Hanover Theater and Conservatory through so much before there was even a conservatory. Do you want to talk a little bit about your relationship with us?
Well, it started just before the theater opened when we noticed an article in the Telegram and Gazette that was advertising the first season's programs. And we wanted to know how we could get involved and get seats, ticketing, and what have you. It eventually led to a donation in support of the theater. And then my wife and I have enjoyed the theater tremendously and began going to multiple events. We've been Broadway series holders since the beginning, and generally go to probably 20 to 25 different performances of various types every year.
Now, I have to ask, did you go to that many shows and performances before the Hanover Theater?
There weren't that many shows and performances. We've been going to Music Worcester performances for many years.
Yeah.
And
so I guess
we don't go to the Art Museum as often as we should, but we do support it.
Well, for a lot of people, they're probably thinking, wow, that's a lot. And it is. But you know what? It's nice when you're part of a community that comes together regularly to share in something that's new, interesting, gives you something to talk about. And, I'm wondering, were you involved to the same degree before we came on board? And you answered that a little bit, but...
Well, I would say we were not. The theater, it's been a great deal of fun. We start off usually with the Broadway series, and that's spread throughout the course of the season. And then the programming has been such that new events pop up all the time. Now, we've gone to many things that we specifically like, and many things that are perhaps ordinarily out of our comfort zone just because it's here. And I've enjoyed virtually everything that we've seen.
I know, and it's really fun, isn't it, when you go to a show and at first you're thinking, I'm not so sure about this, and then you end up loving it. But I want to talk too about the theater in general. There's such a feeling of, believe it or not, optimism at this time because we do have really great supporters, but that doesn't mean that we don't have needs. I think that one of the things that is important is that everybody is suffering at this time economically, and we know that not everybody is financially able to give to causes in the theater, but we still know that the arts are important. And so you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, one of the things that I've found out over the years is that performing arts venues run on very thin margins. And while many people feel that ticket prices go to the places where the events are held, they don't. For the most part, just a small amount of the operating revenue comes from the tickets. much comes from donations. In this day and age, particularly with the pandemic around us and everybody shuttering in, events have been closed right, left, and center for virtually everybody, actually for everybody, which has meant a tremendous hit on the operating revenues of all of the cultural institutions, as well as educational institutions in our area and throughout the country. It's very hard when you think of the vibrancy that these institutions, particularly Hanover, have brought to Worcester over the last several years. We want these institutions to be vibrant and healthy in 6 or 8 months when everything starts to get hopefully back to normal.
Absolutely, and that certainly is a time when I will cheerfully again say, see you at the theater, and know that it's happening soon.
We're looking forward to that, but I'm also very encouraged by the fact that the conservatory is doing a number of classes online, too. Don't want to lose that.
You're so creative, and it's such a great community, and Megan and her team do a phenomenal job.
They do.
That's for sure.
It's been exciting watching the conservatory grow.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's been exciting watching the whole thing grow. And, with that growth, it comes more responsibility for the organization and, of course, more employees. And so, one thing that has come out of this is I know that we have established the COVID Resiliency Fund. And so that is a way that if people want to, they can give to the Hanover Theater immediately if they wanted to.
Well, we felt, my wife and I were fortunate enough that we can make these donations. Not everybody can, but we did a couple of things. We support the theater with annual donations, both to the Franklin Square Society for the theater itself, as well as to Access to the Arts, which supports the efforts of the conservatory. When all of this started happening and we were having to cancel shows, we made an additional donation to the Franklin Square. And then for each of the various events that have been canceled, we've made those purchase tickets into donations back to the theater.
That is so great, and it really is appreciated. A lot of people, you're right, they don't realize that, number one, we're a nonprofit organization, and while we don't get a large portion of the ticket revenues, we still do depend on events for some of the fees and the revenues from the tickets, but also the additional revenue from that.
Right.
It's great, and we would much rather be able to reinvest and have people reinvest in us as an organization with a credit for something in the next season when we are back. And that is definitely an option that we're giving to people as we have to cancel different shows this year. So that's a good option.
It is. Anything that can be done to support our institutions, anything is very helpful at this stage.
Absolutely. Well, so thank you so much, Dr. Green. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I want to make sure everybody stays tuned. We're going to be back after this quick break on Behind the Scenes with the Hanover Theater. Stay tuned.